This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
Hi guys, welcome back.
Welcome back, you guys.
Hope you're doing well.
Hope you're doing well. Why'd you just look at me like that, Cindy?
You know, I was just pondering that I'm just happy to be here with you.
Happy to be here. I'm Paige.
I'm Cindy, and this is Mom's the Word, where Mom knows best.
Or at least she's trying her best.
Really, I am.
You are. You're doing a damn good job.
Thank you.
Has anybody told you that lately?
No.
You are. You're doing a stellar
I
job.
appreciate that.
Of course. You are too, listener. Hello.
They are doing good.
You are.
And really, like, watch what you, or pay attention to what you watch on the internet, because it can make you feel a little shitty.
Yeah, no kidding. These days, people love to be
I feel
judgy.
like lately, like, you, like, scroll and I'll look at other, like, mom's comments, and I'm like, oh, that's so mean to say to people.
Why are they so mean to moms?
I don't know.
So mean to moms.
So mean
it's
to moms.
It's wild to me. Y'all are just some of the biggest haters.
And I'm not in any other, like, you know, that any other sides of TikTok. I'm on Mom Talk, you know?
Yeah.
And so I just see those, but like, man, I feel like I'm already judgmental to myself.
Right. Like we are our own biggest critic.
Yes.
I don't need you up my ass too.
Right. Now, the most recent thing that we've kind of discussed
This
is
frustrates
that
the living daylights out of
you guys
me.
probably seen a few weeks ago now that we can't take our kids to Costco, you know, big stores.
Yeah, don't take your kids to the public.
Yes.
That really upsets the other people, apparently.
And I'm sure you guys have seen this. There was somebody who went around saying, like, leave your kids at home with their dad. Why are you bringing them here when they're crying, right?
She didn't even just go around. She straight up videoed a child crying in the background and said, this is why you leave them at home with dad. Mm-hmm. You don't take your kids to Costco.
Yeah, if they don't know how to act.
Girl, what?
Girl, what?
Girl, what?
Yes.
What are you talking about? First of all, you're at the Costco house. That's the bulk family store for families to be able to not
We
spend
all
so
pay
much
for
in
this club
food.
membership.
Hello. I literally paid to bring my kids here so that judgy wenches like you wouldn't look at me. And not only, my biggest thing, don't get me wrong, like, yeah, judging, that's, you're already lame to me. The fact that you videoed a child crying, you literally heard this child in a moment of vulnerability and thought to yourself, I'm going to video them and talk about how shitty it is that their parents even brought them here and put it online. It's going to be so viral.
Yes. The thing that made me cringe was like that she's a mom. Yeah. Like, what, girl?
What do you mean?
That's some weird behavior.
She has to be a mom to older kids who has just forgotten.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can excuse that. You've just forgotten how hard it is.
Yes.
My thing is, too, is she doubled down on it. And she was like, well, the mother was just spacey and not paying attention and just didn't even care. How do you know that? How do you know that mother didn't care? Yeah. How do you know she's not rushing through what's left of her list just so that she can get out of there? Because I guarantee you, if my child is crying and upset, I'm very worried about the way that they're disturbing the people around them. And I don't want him to be crying and upset anyways, let alone I don't want him to be disturbing people. Yeah. So the fact that I'm already stressed out and there's someone like you with your phone out recording it saying that I'm not being a good enough mom and my kid doesn't know how to act and all these things to a stranger. Yeah. Ick energy.
I literally can tell you there's never a moment that I'm like, I'm going to go to Costco so my kids will cry the whole time, actually. And I'm going to enjoy it and just let y'all just listen. And I'm never going there thinking that's going to happen.
No, and it's not something you want to happen.
No, never.
It's so stressful.
No.
And then that brings me to my child has autism and he stims loudly.
Yes.
He hums sometimes.
Yes.
And so if he's sitting there humming or makes a happy yelp or any of those things, he's disturbing you so badly you're going to video it. Yeah. That's just, it was so frustrating to me to watch that.
Oh my, yes. And then the backup video that said like, I could tell this child didn't have any disability. Ma'am, what?
Ma'am, what?
Yeah. What?
What?
No.
What are you talking about? Because if you met Boston, you would not know.
Right.
So what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. You don't know. If you don't know that child, you do not know that he does not have a disability. And it was so gross to watch this lady double down and say that. I was icked out. You know what else also pisses me off is when people video themselves in a plane and you can hear a baby crying behind them and they're like, babies don't belong in planes. Says who? Here's my thing. I am all for an airline coming out and being adult exclusive.
Right.
You pay a little extra. There's no kids on that plane. Cool.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yep.
I don't want your grumpy ass around my kid anyways.
Yes.
So like, I get it. I understand not wanting to be stuck in a tuna can in the sky with a crying kid.
I don't want to be either.
You want to know? Yeah. I was like, you want to know who else don't want to be there? Me.
Yes.
Me. And he's my child and I love him more than words, but I don't want him crying and upset because I know he's upsetting other people. I don't want him to be upset. I mean, it's just, there's so much pressure already to have them be like, okay, please don't cry. Please don't cry. You're upsetting the people around us. Please don't cry. Oh
Yes,
my gosh.
yes.
Trying to keep them calm.
Oh my God.
Trying to make everyone comfortable. And the only person that is actually having a meltdown is you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally just had this experience.
Yeah.
When we just went on a trip to Disney World, and I didn't take my child, thinking he was going to have like the easiest time. Planes are scary, right?
Yeah.
And so my child had a hard time going to sleep on there. I can't schedule, when he's going to cry, when he's going to sleep. Mm-hmm. And so he was upset and he did cry and I was stressed out. Like I was trying everything. I'm looking around at people because they're looking at me and I was stressed beyond measure. Mm-hmm. Like to the point where I'm like, I'm going to go to the bathroom and cry with my baby because I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I could not, I was calling me, and I just felt like the shittiest parent when I am a seasoned parent, right?
Yeah.
I have now had 15 kids, right? I've done respite care. I've had a lot of kids and I still in that situation could not get my child to stop crying. Does that make me look like a bad parent? To others it did, but I knew that I've tried everything. I tried everything that I could do. I'm not a first time parent, don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
I hate this whole. Well, the parent was ignoring the child too, because I've never personally been in a situation where I saw a child was upset and crying, and the parent was just like, off and not
Yes.
trying to comfort them in some form of way.
Yeah,
I
was a really great parent though when I was not one. Like,
amen.
Like when I wasn't a parent.
My kids were never
I
getting a
was
tablet.
the best one. They were not going to have binkies. We weren't going to be attached to the bottle.
Yep.
Like, I was such a good parent.
I love the whole, my kid will never speak back to me. My kid will never have an attitude. Well, sometimes I have an attitude, so why would I expect my child not to have an attitude with me? I have teenagers. Sometimes they get attitudes.
Yes.
And most of the time, it's reactive. Because
Yes.
I have an attitude with them telling them to do something, so they'll get it back to me.
Yes.
And there is this conception that like, oh, because I'm the parent, they shouldn't have that type of attitude towards me. I don't care if they get an attitude towards me. I mean, if I've given them one first. Now, if they just randomly pop off and are disrespectful and be like, hey, yo, check your tone,
But there's bad moods for all
There's
of us.
bad moods. Everybody has bad moods.
And you can tell the
Toddlers,
difference.
Teenagers.
Yes.
Everybody has
Yes.
a bad day every once in a while.
Yeah.
And we expect so much out of our kids. We expect them to act appropriate and to constantly be able to regulate their
Yes.
emotions and,
Yes.
and be how everybody around them wants them to be.
Yeah, I agree.
So take
Yeah.
the pressure off.
And I feel
They're
like,
babies.
Yes, and I feel like we're still talking about this because it's now been probably 2 weeks since we've heard about that.
Yeah.
Because as I was reading the comments, I was sad for a lot of newer moms, right?
Yeah.
And new parents in general who
don't
feeling
know.
like, oh my God, like my kid can't be out there crying, And don't the comment sections were validating for all of us.
The comment sections were so good.
Oh yes,
The
so
moms
good.
showed up. They were
They
like,
did.
oh, wow. So all it takes is for me to leave my kids at home with the husband I don't have. Oh, wow.
Mine's deployed. Mine is, working 12 hours a day, like
Mine passed away. I'm a widow.
Yes.
Now what do I do?
Yeah.
What the hell? Like just the invalidation of everybody and her face. There was something about her face when she made it, when she was just so conniving. It was just so hurtful. She made that video with intention to hurt.
Yeah.
And you could see it in her face, the judgment. I don't vibe with people like that.
I don't either. You could just tell. It was full judgment. And I just made me think like, did you forget you also had little kids? Did you just leave them at home with their dad? Well, because that was a luxury then.
What a privilege.
That was a luxury to have because I run by myself with my 3 children.
Yeah.
And I try to do it in the morning. I try to be quick. I have a plan. I have a list. And I try to be the most efficient because, my kids will pop off once in a while.
Yeah.
The sample lady only gave him one. Now he wants another one.
Yeah.
Like, it just happens,
They're
right?
kids.
Yes. I don't go there for their entertainment.
No.
Like,
But I have to go grocery shopping,
Yes.
Bethany. What do you want me to do? So just don't feed them because I don't want to upset you at the Costco while you eat your fucking hot dog.
Yes.
Please.
And we have personally had quite some experiences.
Didn't handle it well.
If y'all have not been here since the beginning, Paige done popped off on a lady already.
And I'd do it again. And I'd do it again.
So I'm gonna go tell the story. If you've already heard this, we're gonna hear it again because to me it's literally a prime example of like, girl, we're in public. We are public in the public.
Know your place.
And so we're eating lunch, right? Picture us, okay? Eating together right here. Got
So
our babies.
sweet.
We got our babies right here talking to each other. Fox is like, and then Julia's like talking, and they're laughing.
They're going back and forth, which is so good for their development anyways. The fact that they're having little baby conversations.
Yes.
We're giggling at them. Like it was
Yes,
so
so
adorable to
cute.
watch them interacting. They were little then.
Yes.
They were little.
And it was so cute. So there's a lady right behind
Makes me
Paige.
fucking hot
and
talking
I'm
about
looking at her because I see her, right? And the lady like flips around. And I like
her
looked
head.
at her and Paige can tell. So Paige whips around and the lady says something.
What did she say?
So she was like,
Really?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
really? And like she's at a table with 4 other older ladies. And I said nicely, kindly, right? Because here I am at lunch with my husband and my kids. And I was like, they're babies. Just like that. And then Paige,
Really what?
yeah,
I was like, you ain't never heard a happy baby before?
she did. And then
Girl.
that didn't end it, okay? So
No, it
second of all, her friends noticed and that was embarrassing. We were in a restaurant, you guys, with other children there.
In a mall. We were in a mall, okay? Please.
Yes.
Please quit acting like you were at the fucking Fogo de Chao.
Yeah.
You were not.
And then the fact that like she kept like ear hustling us, like you could tell that she was still making her
Judging.
irritated. They were checking out. So as we're leaving, Paige wasn't done.
No, I wasn't because I was tired of her turning around and looking at me. I
Looking
was
at our
sick and
babies.
tired of it.
So we were going out with our babies to go change them together. And Paige talked to her friends.
I just politely tapped my finger on the table. No, these were the friends that walked out, huh?
Yes, the friends that walked out.
Yes. And I said, I just hope that you know that your friend was very rude. And I hope that all the people know at church that she's a hypocrite.
And
And
it was
I'd
rude.
say
They were
it again.
embarrassed. They were embarrassed.
I'd absolutely say it again.
They were embarrassed.
Because not only did they sit at that freaking table acting like they were the only people in that damn restaurant, but then she wanted to turn around and act like she could judge me. And I'm not the one. I'm not the one.
And what a weird thing. Like the kids are happy.
To judge a 6-month-old baby.
Not even
That's
crying.
babbling. That's so strange. How miserable do you have to be that they're making happy sounds? We're not even talking about a kid crying here. This is not even the mom has been ignoring the kid who's having a meltdown and is just not doing anything, and you turn around and say, hey, like pay attention to your no. This is happy sounds between 2 babies and one old crotchety woman that thought that she was going to have the last word, and she met her match.
Yes, she did. She probably ain't never going to do that again.
Don't come for
I
my
sure
kid.
hope so.
She better be glad that's all I said because I had a lot more.
And I feel like it could be intimidating because you're like, oh my God, am my kid being too loud, right? You automatically feel judged. But when it comes to us, no, ma'am.
No, don't judge me.
We're not doing that.
No.
And then there's situations that are quite great, right? So I had a great
Yeah.
experience yesterday, literally yesterday. And I was at Costco. Was that Costco? Sam's Club. And I was having a conversation with Bear, my 7-year-old, and we're talking about just random things about a concert. And I was saying, like, you're not old enough yet, but you will one day and we'll have so much fun. And this lady walks up to me and I thought she was going to be rude. And I had
When you said the story, I had already typed like, who does she think she
Yes.
is? Give me her name because I thought
Yeah.
it was going the wrong way.
Yeah, so she walks up to me and she's like, "Hi there." She's like, "Oh, these are all your babies." I'm like, "Yeah, you know." And she's like, "Oh, how old is, Bear?" And she was asking him and he's like, "I'm 7." And she goes, "Mom, I just want to let you know that I was listening from the aisle over." And at this point I was like, "Oh my God, was I being mean?" Because sometimes your kids are acting up wild and I got to be like, "Stop it."
Hey.
And so I'm like, "Oh my
Situate.
God, what did I say?" Because it's just a conversation. And she goes, "You're doing a really great job. The way you talk to him was so great. You talked to him and explained it." And she goes, "I was just smiling over there." And she's like, "And you're playing with your other baby right here and you're just doing a really good job." And I was like, "Oh my
So
God."
validating. So
and I was like,
nice.
"Thank you so much." And Bear just like, he's like, "This is my mom." But I just thought that was so much more validating than anything else.
If you see a mama that's doing a good job, let them know.
It made my whole week.
Let them know.
I was like, "Wow, I'm doing a good job."
Bitch, you doing a good job.
And so I was like, I have to do that more to other moms too.
Yeah.
Like I try really hard to, and I'm caught in motherhood because I have babies, but I try really hard to be like, "You're doing so good too."
I'm big on that. I love to, I seek out people. I'll be like, your shoes are cute. Girl, you look great today. Like I'm that person that wants to randomly yell compliments at you and throw you off and you'd be like, Me? I love that. That's the
Yes.
big, it just makes my whole world. I love it.
So we are in a public space, and I feel like there's a time and a place also, right? Let's hear the other end of it is that, like, where are some places that we wouldn't take our kids to? You know, there are places that I would not take my babies to, right? We're not going to Estoy Gaucho for some fancy dinner.
Yeah, no, we're not
Brazilian.
going to Fogo de Chao. I'm not going to take them to any clubs. We're not going clubbing.
Right.
Funerals. I don't necessarily like to take my children to funerals because they're children. They don't necessarily know to sit there and be quiet the entirety of the time, and they could start to babble, or people are mourning and going through a grieving period.
That's a great one.
And that is just one small thing.
Or adult-based events, right? That you know that this event is for adults.
Yeah.
And you know that your children could possibly get into the way, right? Like, we know those spaces.
Absolutely.
But, you know, we're not going to
You also know what's going to be uncomfortable for you as a parent because you don't want to take them to those places anyways.
No.
Especially like non-child-proof places. No, I'd rather not.
Yeah.
I'd rather not.
Yes.
That
But the
one's a big
grocery
one.
store, that's where we're going.
Yeah,
we're all going
I'm
there.
going to the damn
I gotta
grocery
feed
store.
them.
Like, get over it.
We're going to the mall.
Yeah, I'm going to the mall and I'm going to eat in the food court. And if you got a problem with it, Dorothy, come at me. So,
I cannot. But there's a time and a place, you know?
Yeah.
Public spaces are public for a reason. And to all the moms listening who felt some type of way about that, I want you to take your kids everywhere.
Everywhere.
I want you to let them experience the world, talk to other people, talk to each other, let you have conversations, let them have an outburst and figure out how to act, because one day they are going to be in that situation.
Yeah.
And how else are they going to learn?
They're never going to
if
know
we
how
don't
to
teach
act.
them how. Yeah. I went to a library story time. Oh my goodness. A library story time, and I had a child who was in care who did not know how to sit down and listen, right?
Yeah.
They're 3.
Yeah.
And she told me to leave the room until they could sit down and compose themselves.
What?
I forgot about that still just now. I'm like, I literally just got a spine chill.
That would've pissed
And I
me
literally
off.
said to her, this is where they're learning to sit down.
Like, this is what's the point of this?
Yeah. And they said, oh, well, all the other kids can sit there. Oh, well, this is where they have to learn to come and sit down.
This is one child.
Yes.
Oh,
And so she did it to a couple other parents. Like, a baby was kind of like wanted to stand up, and her mom kept trying to put her down. So the baby was getting upset. And she's like, ma'am, you can take her out until she's done crying. And I'm like, no.
I would never go back to that library.
I don't go back to that library because I thought, like, this is literally library story times to me are to help your children get ready for that setting, for kindergarten, for preschool, right? Us stay-at-home moms and moms who can go to the story times at like 10 in the morning, that is how we're teaching our kids to be in public.
Literally, you should not be keeping your child in the house the entire time just so that you don't upset the public. They'll never learn anything.
They're not
Social
gonna
skills,
thrive.
How to be around other kids, how to advocate for themselves.
Yes,
any of
I
these
agree.
things. They need these social skills in order to be able to thrive as young adults. That's just, it's so unrealistic that you think that your peace in a public place is that important that you don't want to be around the public.
No. If anything, that's going to stifle your kids' growth, stifle their how they speak and things like that. They need to experience those things.
We were just having this
It's
conversation
very
earlier
important.
about kids being around other kids and how they learn things
Yes.
from other kids. Like, my daughter sees me walk and is like, cool, she walks, she always has. But then she sees like Jay's kids, Amor, walking, and she's like, wait a second, she's my size. I can do that.
Yes.
So she follows after these other kids because they're her size. They're her peers. She's like, wait a second, you can climb there, I can climb there. They need to be exposed to those things.
You want my child to one day be emotionally stable, be able to be in public, and be a great person in society, then they got to be out right now.
Right.
Just do it. Like,
this is another big thing is like restaurants can be very difficult because, you get to sit down and be quiet,
They
color
can be
here.
very difficult.
Start in small places. Like, start at the Burger King. Let them get the Chick-fil-A.
Yep.
Sit here. Then you get a reward. You can go play. Go
That's
ahead.
right.
Have fun.
That's
You
right.
do that a couple times as they get more comfortable with that. Maybe you try Babe's Chicken. Maybe you try somewhere that's a little bit more family oriented. It's not so fancy. It's not so sit down.
Yes.
There are ways to do it in steps so that your child does become prepared for that
Yep.
and can act differently and not have outbursts in places where you don't necessarily want them to. But even if they do, it doesn't make you a bad parent and it doesn't make them a bad kid.
how are they going to learn if you don't do it? If you don't
Literally.
take them? We are in charge of teaching them how to be out there. And you just brought up a good thing. Is like people say, like, how do you go with all 3 of your kids? How are you doing it? Like, you make it look so easy. And my biggest advice is start small. Start at the park, bring a lunch, sit down, start with 1 hour. go to library story time, start really small and just work your way up.
And it's hard.
It is hard.
It's freaking hard.
There's sometimes
there's
I
gonna
go
be a
out
lot
and-
of times you cry.
Literally, I was gonna say, there's sometimes I go out and we don't last as long as I thought I would. It didn't it didn't turn out the way that I thought it was gonna look, but I still went. And so now I've just become, accustomed to it. Bring the kids with me, but
Oh, me too.
yeah,
I've also gotten used to being disappointed in experiences because of Boston's inability to follow along in an exact, like how everybody else wants him to follow along in certain things. He doesn't think that way. He doesn't want to. And like when we went and played putt-putt, he freaking had the time of his life,
really
but
did.
he did not hit one single putt-putt. He was climbing everything. And he would look at the ball go in from somebody else and he'd be like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
But he just wanted to stay on one station. It was exciting for him. And so, if every child's going to be different.
Yep.
Every single one. But it didn't upset anybody that we were around that he wasn't following to that schedule. No. And I think that is what made that place so exciting for us. It was called Putt Shack, by the way, if you're in the Plano area.
Really cool.
It was really cool. But
those kid-friendly places are perfect places.
they're so good.
That other restaurant we went to with the outside area in Boston was just like vibing in his own world. Remember we went with Jay? There was this huge restaurant. It's like a bunch of restaurants.
Yeah,
and they have a big outside area where your kids can just be. And there was other kids acting crazy. And I thought that is the perfect environment for all of us. Like those kind of environments.
My
Start
child's
there.
not sitting still.
Yeah, start there.
He's busy. He's very busy. He wants to run around. He wants to play. He's
and
excited.
he has the best balance I ever did see.
Oh, he does.
That boy will be some kind of athlete. No lie to you guys. He can balance on everything.
Everything.
It's amazing.
Everything. He like the jungle gyms that have like the rock climbing things. He's going for that first. The ones that like it. Even whenever I drop him off at school, there's like a curb that's like a ledge that looks like a balance beam, and he walks it every day because he likes it.
And the other moms will be like, "Oh my God, your baby," and you're like, "Oh no, he's good.
I'm fine. He's fine.
He's good up there."
Let him go. He climbs the back of the couch every day, all
He
day
is
long.
such
So
good- yeah.
I'm not afraid of him climbing things anymore. I've watched him do it so much that now I'm comfortable with it. But it does make other parents very nervous. They'll be like, "Oh, he's climbing this." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
He's good at it too,
He's
though.
so good at it.
I could never.
He has the most upper body strength I've ever seen. That kid is strong.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he don't play no games.
Oh my goodness.
I'll try to fight him off of something. This is so much fun.
Oh, I think this is a good pause to bring Jay in.
Yeah, we should.
has
Jay, I want to
another
know your
perspective.
perspective on
Yeah.
the public having children in it. Isn't it weird to think
He has
that
a lot
the
of kids
public
that are
may
little.
have public? Jay.
Hi guys.
Jay is back.
Welcome back, Jay.
Oh, what an interesting topic y'all had today.
So let me tell you something. So Paige already said this, but Jay's children are very well behaved, Jay.
Oh,
You're
so
very
behaved.
sweet. Thank you.
So like, how does that happen when you're out in public? They can sit there at the restaurant. My kid's having a crazy.
So, we went out to eat for Valentine's Day. And first of all, I think it's interesting when restaurants only have like 2 high chairs. I don't know. I find that so interesting. Like, I understand like you're not going to have like a lot. But 2 for the whole restaurant?
Yeah, that
Interesting.
doesn't seem
is.
like
Yeah,
enough.
you know what I mean?
That's not
Like 5.
And like, you know how they have the boosters, but I feel like those are unsafe.
They
sometimes.
are.
Your kids like
Because
flip
they
out
could
of
like,
them. Yeah.
And
you
kids
know?
don't sit still.
No. And so, so we went out to eat for Valentine's Day, and my kids had to sit. We only had 1 high chair, so we had to sit them in regular chairs, and they did very well. And someone did tell us that the kids did really well, sitting down like in a regular chair, sitting up and stuff.
When I'm with you, you get that compliment a lot.
All the time.
Like probably 3 restaurants, I've heard some lady say, "Oh my God, your kids are so well behaved."
yeah. Because they
Which is
really
a
are
blessing.
so
No, they really
behaved.
are.
Like polite, kind. They sit there quietly. They kind of just color and do their own thing. Their food comes, they eat. It's
Yeah,
like
they eat. You
whoa.
guys, they eat good.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know what he did, but I didn't do.
Yeah, I didn't do it. So
Stop
tell
it.
us what you did. Jay.
No, I mean, I think we were very blessed because the kids do listen pretty well, and we teach them, when we're at restaurants, please sit down. Obviously, we let them play and do whatever they want and stuff, but I try to let them be kids, but at the same time, kind of teach them that, because that's how we're going to teach them. So, like talking about the subject that y'all talked about earlier, is that's the only way that they're going to learn. It's like, yeah, we can model it at home. Right. But it's not, you can't get the full experience. When you go out to restaurants, yes, that's when you're going to learn and stuff. And so I'm not sure that shameful lady. I don't know. I don't agree with that. First of all, I mean, I just kind of wonder, like when you're going to post a video like that, like, I wonder, like, because you know how, like, when you post a video, you're like, oh my God, this is so funny. I hope everybody thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
I wonder if she's like, oh my God, all these people are going to agree with
Yeah.
me
She
had
about,
to have.
Yeah.
like, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard of is like, I'm going to shame somebody for something that they're doing and I know nothing about them. So I'm going to post this and everyone's going to agree with me.
Oh my God, yeah, you're so right, girl. Those kids shouldn't be in Costco where
Yeah.
there's 50-cent hot dogs.
I mean, literally, I did not start shopping at Costco and Sam's Club like 100% until I had a family.
Literally.
So, warehouse shopping is literally meant for the large families.
Yes.
I don't think there's a lot of single people with no children
Who
going
need 4
to
pounds of
Costco.
asparagus.
Yeah.
To get 6 pounds of oranges. And,
Why do you need that?
who needs, like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't understand that. And I feel like when people are mean or do stuff like that, there's something inside of them internally that they haven't worked on, processed, a trigger or something that is inside them that they haven't worked on. And that's why they feel some sort of way. And that just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Listen, oh my God. If somebody ever recorded me, first of all, if I saw someone do that, I'd probably throat punch them.
Oh,
or
yeah, I'm getting
something.
violent. I'm going to jail at that
oh
point.
my Lord. If my children are with me, I would try to set the example. I'd be like,
Yes,
Kyler, please take the children outside and I'm about to go ham on this lady.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not going to hit a woman, right? So I would have to hit her with my
Verbally.
words. I'm very quick with my words, so I would be able to gather her really quickly. But
I never took that into account, is that you would potentially be judged by women rather than men. I didn't even think about that, but
Yeah.
you're totally right. I guarantee no dad's looking at you.
Well, he gets that all the time. They'll be like, they'll tell him like, oh, your wife must, this literally happened to us the other
Shut
day. Literally, someone was like, your wife must be so happy you guys have 5 kids. And Jay's literally quick, like, my husband. I'm like,
yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously I would handle it differently because I wouldn't want to do something crazy in front of my children because
Yeah.
our children are going to look for us for the example on how to handle conflict, how to handle
Yeah.
things and all that stuff.
Don't take
But
my
I'd be like,
advice.
okay, Kyler, please take the kids to the back of the store or go to the car really quick and kind of be like, ooh, he's about to go crazy on this lady. And then I would handle her accordingly. I wouldn't hit her or anything.
I would
but
be so hurt
Handle it
if
accordingly.
somebody
But the audacity to sit there and
If
try to
someone recorded
record
my
somebody's child and
Yeah.
put them on social media to make them feel less than, or I mean, it just doesn't make sense, and it just upsets me.
Yeah.
And
Can you imagine if that mom's seen that video?
That's what I was just thinking,
Yes.
because your
And then-
FYP is shown to people who are like generally in your
Like, oh, I know that
area
cry.
at
That's my
first.
baby.
And you know your child's cry.
imagine like you're having getting out of the house is a struggle.
Yes.
Okay, when you got kids, it could be 1, 2, 5, whatever. It's a struggle to get out of the house.
Can
And
you say
sometimes
that
you're
again?
so-
It can be how many?
1, 2, 5.
It could be one
can
child
be
you have a hard
one.
time with.
Yeah.
Two
It
It can
children.
be one.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were gonna tell me because I don't know how to
No,
count.
no.
it was
I
a
mean,
good
in the sense,
example.
like you saying that is so powerful,
Yeah, I
because a
mean-
lot of moms who only have one child see
Yeah.
me or Cindy who have 4 or 5. It's people like us who have multiple
Like,
children.
how do y'all do it and I
How do y'all
can't?
do it? And I'm with one and I can't. I was once a mom of one and I couldn't either.
Nope.
So I get it.
Yep.
That was powerful.
I mean, it's hard enough to get out the door. And let me tell you, sometimes me and Kyler, it takes us like 3-4 hours just to get out the door with prepping and everything. And so then you have the anxiety. And I mean, me and Kyler probably argued because of the outfits. We're annoyed with each other. We're snapping at each other. Then we get to the store. You have to unload. Everything's going on.
Yeah.
You're trying to get through the store. You're trying to make sure your children are well behaved. All these things. And then here comes Bitter Betty or someone to come and give some unsolicited advice when you're already having a rough day. Imagine that mom, she could be having a day. She could have got a flat tire on the way there.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
overwhelmed. She might be single. She doesn't have anybody. I mean, so much. And then here comes someone trying to shame them. And then they were to see that on social media.
Oh my gosh.
And they already feel like a
That would
failure.
break
I
my
mean,
heart.
that would be even worse.
And you just explain it like you guys literally prepare to leave the house.
Yes.
We all prepare to leave the house.
Just to get up and go to the grocery store.
And I make sure to plan it around nap, bedtime. Like they know me. If it's going to happen at 7:30, I'm not coming.
Yup.
My kids aren't coming. I will make sure I have a sitter because why would I put us in that situation
Yeah.
when they're going to be, having a hard night?
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard. And I just don't understand why we can't just give each other grace. Like, just give each other grace. I mean, let's say you're not a parent, but there was a time where you were going through some sort of situation that you just wanted grace. Life was hard. You were going through something hard. Give each other grace. Like, What does that have to do with you? If you don't like a screaming child, just take your car and keep going, girl. Like, has nothing to do with you. I mean, literally, after you leave that place, hopefully you're not sitting there thinking about it. I don't think of stuff like that.
No,
like if I have a situation, I move on, and next, I'm living my best life, not worried. I just don't understand how people can be so mean. And social media is an amazing thing. But with social media, there's a lot of people who are like keyboard warriors, or who are very adamant on social media, where they're very vocal. And I tell this to people all the time, because I go on live, and there's 98% is love, but there's 2% that is not love. I always tell people, here in America, we have freedom of speech. I get it. We love it. That's the main thing of America. Oh, freedom of speech. It's called freedom of speech, not freedom to be an asshole, right? So you're allowed to say whatever you need to say, speak on the topics, on what you're passionate about. Lovely. Yes, I advocate for people speaking, using their voice. Oh, she's getting a phone call, guys. That's not a vibrator. That's her phone. Okay.
I have it set to very specific settings.
Call me again. That's why the other day she's like, keep calling me.
Keep calling.
You're not answering.
She did do that to us.
I did not. Don't get these weirdos any ammunition. They'll be like, Paige, their phone is a vibrator.
Is that why it doesn't work all the time?
That's the fucking next
Resourceful is what I say. No.
Y'all said I don't save money.
So you have freedom of speech, and you're allowed to, like, let's say that you don't agree with two daddies, right? I get it. There's people who don't. There's a way that you can use your voice and say it in a way that you can still get your point across. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be an asshole. But people think, oh, it's freedom of speech, so I can say whatever I want. You can. It's how you say it, and the power of your words are strong, and you have to be very careful, but people just aren't very mindful of it.
Right.
And it's like, if you just learn to speak and use the words correctly, I think it would be a lot better.
Yeah, I think that, like, I am definitely a learner, right? If you want to teach me something maybe that I don't know, or explain it in a different way, like, I'm all about the information.
Yeah.
But if you're going to come at me like telling me something, it's the wrong way to go. Like, I will absorb so much information from somebody. I learn from everybody, but
it's all about the approach. And it's all how people approach it. And then you can always look back at the people's intentions. You can always look back and you're like, what is the intent of this person? Right. And sometimes the intent might be malicious, where they're trying to upset you, be rude, condescending, like that lady. Or sometimes it comes from a place of they're not educated, or they're unaware of a certain situation. I get a lot of people that are like, Jay, I hope you don't take this offensively, but I haven't been around a lot of gay people. I haven't seen this. Can you help me understand this? I'm like, that's perfect. Right. The way that they said it, the way they approach it. Thank you so much. Then there's some people that are like, just go straight for the jugular. And I'm like,
yes, I love
that.
So
it's all about the intent and how you word things right. And it's okay to ask questions and understand.
Yeah. So I think, like, our audience obviously is parents. You guys relate to all of these things really easily. But there are still a lot of us that have a hard time with going out, with being afraid that somebody will say something to you, or you're not prepared, or you think something's going to go wrong. Jay, since you've had so many kids, babies till now 6, what are some things that you do to prepare to leave the house for a long time? Like, what could you give a mom that would help her to feel more confident with leaving with her kids?
I think preparation is going to be key for you to leave the house. Like, you have to prepare. One, I mean, we are very scheduled, so I know that we're going to leave the house by 9. So I'm like, okay, great. We have to wake up at 4. No, but like, if we're leaving the house at 9, I'm for sure up at least 6 to 6:30, because I shower before Kyler wakes up and before the kids wake up. I want my own little time to just shower.
You know how long you need before.
Yes. And then that way I hit the ground running. And so then Kyler takes a shower, and then he comes, and we all have different responsibilities. I am more of I get them ready. I start doing their hair. Kyler helps me with their hair. He comes in, finishes it, and then he starts going and loading everything into the car and packing. Which is
a great thing to have a partner, because my husband's very helpful like that too. And if you don't, an advice that I would give is the night before. So, like, a lot of people will see me prepare the night before. Like, I'm packing snacks the night before, my bottles are ready. So when the morning does happen, you can just get your kids ready, and all that other stuff's ready.
Yeah, and so preparation is key. And I mean, don't try to leave everything for the last minute, right? Because you don't know what mood those kids are going to wake up in. Lord Almighty, they might wake up, hi! And they might be like, I don't want to go.
I don't want to go. Yeah.
It's like,
Boston will
Lord
say, 1
almighty.
minute,
Yeah.
1 minute.
Yes.
Yeah. But preparation is key. So like before we go out the door, like we have snacks. Like first of all, I'm a grazer. Okay. I'm a little snacker myself. I brought a suitcase today of snacks. So snacks, you know that your children are going to be hungry. You know that sometimes like they're having a tantrum. Here's some fruit snacks.
Right.
Like literally
Right.
bring out the
Literally.
heavy
Snacks
artillery
help.
of what they like.
Yes.
To kind of be like, oh, hey, look, to kind
Yes.
of redirect their feelings or how they're feeling. So I would say snacks is a big thing. You need an extra outfit.
Yes.
How many
Yeah.
blowouts? How
An
much
out-the-house
throw
outfit.
up? Something like that, like outfits. So, getting your diaper bag ready with different things that you're going to need. A first aid kit, because you just never know. But I think that you have to prepare. Preparation is key. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
That's right. You'll have everything that you need.
Yeah,
Many times that I would have things that I'm like, okay, this saved the day just by having something extra.
And it will save you a lot, because if you have like the extra clothes, it's going to save you a lot of anxiety and all of that. If you have snacks to give them, drinks, because they're thirsty, they're hungry. And then obviously that's also a money saving situation, right? Like if you don't bring their cup, you don't bring snacks, you're like, oh crap, I have to stop and get all this stuff.
Right.
And then obviously you spend more money. But I think that preparation is key. And if you are a single parent, right, then preparing the night before is going to be very important. Or even like the days before, like if you're going on a trip, start prepping the day before. Like if you know you have to get suitcases done, the diaper bag, you have to pack and play, strollers, because all the toys, stuffies, all that stuff. Pick a day each week, all right? So like let's say you're leaving on Friday, Monday do this. And that way you're not so overwhelmed, because I'm going to tell you, Kyler helps me in that, because I try to do it the night before. And then the day of, I pack my suitcase and I am going crazy because I'm like, oh, nothing fits me. This is horrible. We're late. And, it's just a rabbit hole. And so Kyla's like, let's just prepare. So that's what we've been doing. And that really helps. So if you are single, just try to do it like the day before, right?
Yeah.
So that way you're kind of prepared. Or like if you have 2 different diaper bags, I have one for the car and one for home. And so if I ever forget it, what's in both diaper bags, I have it ready to go. So in case, you just have everything. And even in my car, I have a medicine bag with, remember that one time when I said that the throw up pill, and I said it was, do you remember that on my episode?
It was Imodium. He was like, take an Imodium, it'll make you feel better. And he meant Dramamine.
Dramamine. I said Imodium and it was
I was like,
Dramamine.
well, those are 2 very largely different things, Jay.
But I have Dramamine. I have a lot of things. Grace, and we'll get into the car. I'm like, oh. And
Me,
I'm like,
I'm a car sick
oh
kind of
my
gal.
God. He threw up one time and it stunk in the car.
That's
and literally,
the
I wanted to be
worst.
with like a dog with my head out the window, like out the freeway, because it was horrible. And it was blue, because he had blue Takis. And
Oh, Boston Projectile vomited a hot dog a couple days
Okay.
ago, and it
Lord
was
Almighty.
not fun.
But I think preparation is key to kind of
Yes.
help you. And I've seen people where they make like a list.
Yes.
That was what I was about to say.
I'm not
list
a list
girl.
I'm a list
person.
girl, too.
I haven't
have
gotten
to
to
For a
that
trip, I'm
point.
making a list.
I have to have it.
I need to get a little bit better with that. I think it would help me, because sometimes it is very stressful for me. But I've seen people that do lists, or I've seen people that sell them on Etsy and like stuff like that, where you
Yeah.
can get like a list. And I think that might
already
help
created.
you also to kind of reduce some of that anxiety, to say, I got a list, I checked it off, I got everything I need in order to get out the door, because it can be a lot. Sometimes it takes us at least 3 hours to get out the door. And it's a lot. And sometimes, you're just doing your best.
Yeah.
You're doing your best. And there is that pressure when you're out and
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, how are my children going to act?
Because you don't know. Every day's different.
Like they could be in a good mood and they're like, hee.
Yes.
And then they say, don't touch me.
I think the last thing like that I always tell people is like, you can leave. Like your kids act up. My car's my
Grab.
safe place. Let's get them in their car seats. Go through, Chick-fil-A. We good to go. Like you can always leave the situation. Try it. Because there's been times that I take my kids and I'm like, I went to HB the other day. One pooped, one was crying. Like it was a hard day for me. And so like I feel like don't be afraid to like try it and then go home.
Yeah. And you might have to change your plan sometimes, because, like you're like planning to go a really nice restaurant and then your kids are in a mood. You're like, absolutely not. Chuck E. Cheese it is.
Literally.
Because that's the environment. You know what I mean? It's better that way. But it can be stressful. And then the anxiety that we put on ourselves as parents to feel like our kids have to be perfect and we have to be perfect because people like this lady are going to say
expect it of
something
you.
or anything like that. Like it can be a lot because you're like, oh my goodness. But yeah.
Thank you for that. You shared great things. being prepared like that.
Picture everything to
Oh,
go
we
a
do.
certain way,
Yeah.
and it can be very disappointing when it doesn't go that way. So, I mean, it happens Boston Halloween, I was so excited. You know, everybody has their like Halloween experiences and they all go around and they trick or treat. For 2 years now, Boston, every time we've gone to the very first house, would get upset he couldn't go inside. He'd be like, I'm here to hang out with my friends, and didn't understand it and would start to cry and get upset and get elevated. And those people would be like, whoa, what's this going on here? You're just here for some candy. And it was his thing. So like every child is going to react differently, and it's okay if your situation looks different than what you expected it to look like.
Exactly.
Kids are kids.
Yes.
They're going to be children. They just got here. Okay? Like they're going to take some time to learn
just react
things.
to how they're doing in the moment, right? Yeah. Like that situation, you probably reacted great. Like, let's just keep going. Like, you know what I mean?
We attempted to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For as long as you could.
Yeah.
Like,
and then I realized he was going to be escalated at every
Yes.
single home. So we went back home. And we had a different Halloween than everybody else, but it was still fun to him. He didn't know any different. He doesn't know that he's missing out on house-to-house trick-or-treating because he didn't he didn't come into this world thinking, I'm supposed to go to house to trick-or-treat. That was just a fun thing Mom told him
But you let him experience it.
Yes,
you know, you tried it. And that's another thing with like your kids. If you have a designated time that you're like at the park and your kids are doing great, leave them there. Like sit there and let them play. Like if things are going better than you expected, let it be. Let it be. Because there's been moments that I'm like, okay, it's time for us to go, but my kids are chilling right now.
Yeah, they're having a good time.
Yeah. Go with it. Sit down and enjoy that. Enjoy that 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you, Jay.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Very experienced dad here.
So glad I'm not touching anything in a box today.
Why? Oh, guys, y'all need to let us know. Okay, so we're gonna be doing more. We're gonna be doing some tasting challenges.
Jay loves to mess with us.
I do. I like it. I want to.
He's bringing in fun things. So if you have ideas,
yes,
let Jay know.
Yeah, and if you're listening on Apple or Spotify right now, and you're like, "What the hell are they talking about?" We have a YouTube version, and so we do some fun activities over on YouTube that are probably better to actually visualize than they are just to hear.
If you missed that episode where Paige over here had
a live animal,
where
they
she
talked about it all day,
Oh,
all day long, like literally to the point he got in my car that morning. I picked him up and was like, "Hey, drive safely because I have a live animal back there." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So this whole time I'm like I'm in my brain. I'm like, okay, at the pet store you can buy lizards and rats and snakes. Like, what else would this be? So in my brain it was going to be a lizard, and I don't do reptiles. I don't do reptiles.
It was so great.
It was. So if y'all have any ideas, let us know.
Yeah.
And if you're not following us on Instagram, well, all socials, go follow, because we just posted something on Instagram so that y'all can give us different ideas and stuff that we can do.
All right, Jay, until next time.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Let's just remember, ladies and gents, and whoever you are listening, that sometimes judgmental thoughts should be inside thoughts. Or maybe send it to your best friend. Don't post it online and make everybody else feel like shit.
And if you do see it, like Paige likes to say, eye roll and scroll.
Eye roll and scroll, baby.
Let
if you
it
don't
be.
like it, let it go.
That's right.
And let it be. Let it be.
Well, I had fun, you guys.
It was a good time.
It was. As always, keep those giggles going.
And the love flowing.
And until next time,
Mom knows best.
or at least
she's trying her best.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.